Hello, guys. I want to talk about my childhood and how it like kind of shaped me, and how it like it's like affected up how this world is today, and how it responds to people, especially those who change and are shaped a certain way, become a certain way. Because I'm not saying I was a perfect little angel. I was not. Like when I was like young, this was like years ago. This was like elementary school. Like I was just doing just random shit. Like I was just stealing stuff, acting a certain way, watching certain things, hanging around certain people, like doing things I wasn't supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Just being a bad little boy, like very bad, like dude, not even barely going to school. Like just when I was in elementary school, just acting a fool, acting like a maniac for whatever reason. Like, you know, like just being just satanic and stuff. Like, you know, just doing whatever, just being a maniac, a little boy. Like, that's was years ago. Stores and just acting a fool and just not caring, you know, not treating my just doing that because you think it's cool. You playing fake tough, you want to do that, like, you know, getting in trouble, what I'm saying, getting like referrals in school. Like this was like years ago, like, you know, how just I was just back in a certain way. Cause I just realized at a young age, like when you be bad and you be evil, like you get a certain like the way you get treated is different than you being good. Like I kind of realized that. Like it's just not even being good or bad. It's just about being weak. You want to be weak because usually nicer people are seen as like weak and fragile. Like when you're kind and people take your kindness for granted. And I kind of knew that. Like just you just see it. Like why do you think the child who doesn't snitch on the child who does bad to get the harsher consequences because they're not like telling. They're basically letting the person just do what they do basically. But it's like they think they're being good by like not snitching, but it's like you're just not snitching, so you're getting the most whooping. You know what I'm saying? While the person just doing all the bad stuff that they're doing. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's why a lot of guys just do just grimy stuff and they're just grimy because they kind of realize that it's like a dog eat dog world. Like if you don't act a certain way, then you're just gonna get taken advantage of. You know, it's like if you don't finesse, you're gonna get finessed. That's just how it is. Especially when you're young. It's like a vicious world. Like, of course, you grow out of it. When you get older, you realize it's foolishness. You know, the parents don't be understanding. They be like, "Oh, be a good person, go to church, read your books, and all that." But it's just not as simple as doing that because you're young. Like, you're in a competition. You're this. You're trying to get fly. Like all this dumb stuff. Like it's a vicious cycle, man, and that has an effect on your mental health and how it shapes you, especially when you're young. You know what I'm saying? You know, of course, all that stuff I done, I grew out of it. I've been grew out of it. Like this was like elementary school, like doing grown people like stuff how like children wouldn't do. Like I grew out of that in elementary school like years ago, back in 2012 and all that. Like I stopped doing all that stuff, like lying and just taking stuff and just being a fool, listening to like just music and just I grew out of that. Like that was just not me. Like something in my conscience told me, "Hey, bro, don't be doing things like that. You can pay the consequences." You know, and then you kind of do it to impress friends or people who don't really like care about you to like see a certain way. Like you let people do grimy shit, like just say stuff to you, just do that. Like cussing at each other. You think it's like you're playing with each other, but it's like now you guys are insulting each other, like stuff like that, you know. But then you realize that this is destructive. That's just how it is, man. Like if you're not a grimy person or this, or you don't do drugs, the world treats you a certain way. Like if you're like a good person with morals, you're probably gonna go through more than the average person because you're kind of like solid. You know, people are gonna see you as like weak or whatever. Like you're like a square. Like that's just how it is. People still live in this kind of mentality. You know, I remember ever since I stopped doing things like that, like I stopped getting less friends and I started getting treated a certain way, like more so invisible. You know, notice it like after like in fourth grade, like and then being sent to like certain classes or whatever. Like that's just how it is. If you don't step on people's shoulders, then they're gonna get stepped on. Like that's just how it is. It's like hierarchy. Like that's just how this world is. Like if you're not a certain way, like you notice how the most bad kids they have the most swag, they got the most friends, the girls. They might not be intelligent, they might not have it in the brain area, but they have the most resources. My bad, y'all. But you notice the kids who mind their business, who do their schoolwork, nobody's paying them attention. You may see in the movies how they're stuffed in the lockers, people throw spitballs at them, but in real life, that it might not be as that, but they're not even taking serious stuff. They're like they're probably worse. They're probably the worst that's gonna happen. They're probably gonna get jumped. You know, or just if they're by themselves or whatever. Like if somebody sees that they're a certain individual, you know, and they're like that and they're soft, then people are just gonna take advantage of them. And that's what that's what I realized that. So if you're not grimy or a certain way, then people are just not gonna like take you serious. That's what I noticed when I was young, when I stopped doing these type of things. You know, I grew out of that years ago. It's like in school, like I noticed at a young age. Cause you notice how kids curse at each other, they smoke and all that. They do all these bad things. They're just trying to impress each other. They're trying to keep on like this image, like they just don't want to be seen as weak, especially being a male. Like you don't want to like seem weak. So it's like you do these things. You know, I know. When you stop doing these things, they're just not gonna take you serious, or they're gonna like bully you. You know what I'm saying? Like I noticed it at a young age. I was like, I want no part of this. Like, if you got to be a certain way, then guess what? I'm just not gonna even. I guess I'm not gonna be accepted. I don't care. Like, forget about it. And that's what happened. Like, people will just try you. You know, they'll say certain stuff to you. They wouldn't take you serious. Like, just all these things. You know, like they'll just, just do these things to you. They'll take advantage of you. They'll lie to you and all that. You know, I kind of relate like not handling my own when I was young because like you get taken advantage of. You know, you get people just say certain things to you, and it kind of lives with you till this day. And there's nothing you can really do about it because you're growing up from that. But that's just how it is. That's why a lot of people turn out, become a certain way because they realize that being just as good, upstanding individuals don't really do anything. Especially like when you're young, you don't really know how to be like go about it the right way and stand up yourself, especially in a positive way, because you're young, you don't know about like information or that, like especially about morals. Like you don't have that type of access to knowledge, so you're just off the edge usually. You're either very good or you're just very bad. You don't have that maturity, so you're just off the edge, man. You know, and you're more willing to like react. You know, and that's just how it is. So it makes me realize like when you're a certain way, like people will just give you a certain reaction. That's why people hang out with people who do certain things. They don't call them out. People are evil because they want to be accepted and they know that. That's why the world is a certain way, because people are friends with people that don't like them, that don't care about them, that don't want the best for them. Just because this person has these things, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. This person may have my power, but it's like it's more of the people protecting these people than the people who are doing these bad things. The world protects evil and grimy things. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I realized that, you know, I wasn't a bad hearted kid. Like, I just done what I had to done because I kind of realized that. But then I was like, I don't want to live this lifestyle of just doing these things and just taking stuff and just, I don't want to do that. That's not me, you know? So I just took the blow from it, just being humiliated, not taken serious, not having all the fly stuff or whatever. Like, I just took it. That's just how it is. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are just going to crash out, you know? And that's just what it is, man. How the world shapes you a certain way.